Hi, Jaden. Hi, Emma.
Hi, guess what?
What?
My mom cut my hair
Oh, yeah?
in the kitchen with paper scissors.
Oh, okay.
And
Oh,
it looks great.
it does look good. Yeah. I thought it was going to be like real short now.
Oh, well, it's still kind of short compared to where it was. Like, because it was like right here.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
like,
Oh, okay. So she did cut quite a bit off.
yeah.
Does it feel better? Does your head
Yes,
feel
it feels
lighter?
so much lighter. I
I
love
bet.
it. And I can barely put it in a ponytail, but that's okay because that means that it's off my neck, and I'm glad that it's off my neck.
Good.
Oh, it was a lot of hair. It was like a crap ton of hair.
Yeah, I have very, very thick hair, which is part of the reason why I keep mine really short because it's just too much to deal with. When I was in college and I had to have it long because of theater, I would put it in a ponytail in the morning after my shower, and when I would come home like 12 hours later or more, it would still be wet. Nobody wants that.
Wait, you got cut out for a little bit. You said you had to keep it long?
Yeah, for the theater.
Ah, yes, so
Mm.
that they can experiment with your hair and be like, hey, just in case, we need your hair long so that, well.
Yeah, well, all the plays that we did there were period pieces. So I had really, really, really long hair for a very long time. Oh, and people are doing their exit ticket early. And they're not getting anything right.
And in a lot of period pieces, they probably had long hair.
Yeah, you usually have to have long hair for most of them,
Mhm.
even though there were quite a lot of plays I wore wigs for.
My mom wrote a musical.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it was called The Chicken Opera.
The chicken opera.
So basically, it was a bunch of farm animals, and they're all on a farm, and they are all afraid of something. They're afraid of this thing. Like they don't know what it is, but like they're just afraid of it.
Uh huh.
Like kind of, and they're all making assumptions of what it is. But this new rooster comes in, and he is like, let's figure out what it is. Like, let's actually do something and figure out. Well, it turns out it's a squirrel. Its tail is making shadows, which scares them.
I see. That's funny. Hey, Dave. I was just trying to find it, but I don't see it. There's a play that's about an experiment with chickens.
Huh.
Uh, it's two sisters who are like their father like worked for like a government agency, and they're trying to figure out if like at the end if he was like really if he was crazy or if the stuff that that he was telling them was true. So they're trying to like get into the chicken like facility. It's
That
pretty
sounds
funny.
fun.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Um,
Eh,
I am going to admit I need a little more time on my Moliere on the project for the person.
Okay. Well,
I'm
just remember that we need to move on to the paper on the musical too. So
yeah,
it might mean that you're going to have to do both at the same time. Okay.
well, that is perfectly fine. I need to
Okay.
just do it. It's just I've just been really freaking busy.
I hear you. I hear you. I just don't want you to get, overwhelmed. But
Yeah. I'm also gonna dye my hair today.
oh
And
yeah,
nothing extreme. It's gonna just be with henna. Henna tends to be really like actually really good for your hair. And
yeah,
like it's for more natural colors. So I'm gonna get like brown hair soon.
yeah. I actually dyed mine over the weekend, just very similar to my natural color, just to cover up all the hidden gray hair that I have.
Oh, if you ever have enough gray hairs, you can get henna and it actually turns your gray hairs gold.
Hmm, I have quite a few. I started going gray when I was 23.
Oh Lord.
Yep, yep. I both my parents had gone gray very young. So, um, but yeah, so I have quite a few. And the hair dye that I use actually ends up kind of dyeing them gold. Um, but I just couldn't take it anymore. I went very early in the morning on Saturday and got my hair cut, and then I dyed it.
That's fun.
Yeah, because I can't sleep in anymore because I'm so used to getting up at 5:30 for work that on
So
the
let's
weekend.
just do something early so that like we actually do
Yeah.
something.
So I've been like going to the grocery store really, really early or getting my hair cut really early. I went to the grocery store on Sunday and it was like me and just a bunch of like old people.
I mean, if you go early, there's less people.
Yeah. Yep. So I did that.
Also, how are you feeling? Like,
The medicine started to work. So
good.
I wasn't feeling good last night. So I went to bed really early. I went to bed at like 9 o'clock last night.
Oh my.
I was like, it's time for bed. But it's starting to work. So hopefully by the end of the week, I'll be back to normal.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm ready for Thanksgiving. I don't know about y'all.
I am.
Yep.
I just don't want to go to school right now. Like, I know school is just a computer, so I am home, but it's like, I
Yeah.
don't, I don't want to have to think about work for a week.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to grade during Thanksgiving, but I actually have to take a test myself on the first day of Thanksgiving. Um, so I've been studying for that. And then
Teachers taking test. What a
yeah,
twist.
and I have to also grade for the college class that I'm teaching. So
Ooh, you're also teaching a college class?
an online class. Yep.
Oh
Yeah,
my.
I teach for Tarrant County College.
Oh my.
Yep. So
Oh my.
so I've been doing that too. All right, so those of you who are here, if you can turn on your cameras. So if you're at home, go ahead and do that and log into the Nearpod, please. Let me just make sure that I'm teaching you guys the right stuff because I had to redo the schedule.
Is everyone?
I don't know. Since I had to redo the schedule, everything is the tiniest bit off, but we do what we do. Most of you who are in here have turned in a draft of your project. I have given you feedback, and you have, of course, the deadline is midnight tonight. You can always act on that feedback and get a better grade. So take a look at that if you turned in your project already, because it is useful, but your projects are due by midnight tonight. Trying to take attendance while Trying to watch Zoom. Please be sure if you're going to just put a Google Doc link for the project that you give me access, because there were a couple of people who gave me a link and I don't, sorry, Google, and I don't mind, but I didn't have access to them. So I can't give you feedback on something if I can't read it. So yes, check if you've already turned in your project. Actually, I want to wait and say this one. The other people who are. So if you're home, please turn on your cameras so that I can see you today. That would be nice. If you've already turned in your projects, go ahead and check for the feedback. I am going to warn you that there are a couple of you who have committed some pretty serious acts of plagiarism in your project. I'm going to remind you that plagiarism will get you a 0. So I would suggest that you reconsider if that's you. I see a couple of people who are submitting some projects right now. So yeah, just make sure that if you have it in by midnight, if you don't get it done by midnight, the sooner you can get it done, the better, because we need to move on to the paper, right? It's having trouble loading for you. Just refresh it, Tyler. If you can't get it to load, there is a link in today's folder to the Nearpod slides so that you can follow along yourself. And if that's what somebody has to do, make sure to let me know so that I can let you know what slide we're on. I know that most of you are at home, so I should see some cameras on. Let's go ahead and turn our cameras on, please. So if you are at home and you have a decent internet connection, let's turn our cameras on. Thank you. Because I've just been talking to myself for days and I feel like I'm going crazy. So if you cannot, here's the Nearpod again. If you're having trouble with the Nearpod, there is a version of the slides in Schoology that you can follow along with. Just let me know so that I can at least tell you what slide we're on as we click through. What else? So yes, Playwright projects are due tonight by midnight, right? This is not new information. And as I mentioned, I want you to go ahead and try to get those done as soon as you can, because we need to move on to the last thing we're going to do, our big focus before Thanksgiving break. We have one thing standing between us and Thanksgiving break, and that is that we have to do the RPA paper, okay? So, how many of you have been in Summit or IB schools for like before this grade? Some people? Okay. So if you have been in IB for longer, you already have done this type of assignment, because basically every year this paper is assigned, and then what they essentially do is they just make it a little bit more complicated every year, right? So every year it gets just a little bit more complicated. You have to write a little bit more. You have to do a little bit more. So this is the first year of high school. So it's going to be a little bit more than what you did as an 8th grader. And then next year, it'll be a little bit harder as well. So if you open Schoology and go to the top of class content, the second thing that you see in class content says musical theater paper due 11/20. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay. So musical theater paper due 11/20. If you click on that, this is our final sort of assignment before Thanksgiving. Okay. And I know it says the 18th, but I'm giving you until the 20th. So you have 10 days to do this. All right. So here's the assignment. You will choose a musical from this YouTube playlist that I have, I didn't create it, but I found it and it's a good playlist. I want you to check with me to make sure that it's an appropriate musical. And I might be able to find you a better version if the quality isn't so great. So you're going to find a musical that's on this playlist. Then you're going to write basically a 3-paragraph paper. The first paragraph, you're going to identify what you watched, what type of performance is it, what's the genre, why did you choose the performance? Okay. Yes, theory, it can. The second paragraph is a critique. So you will talk about some things about what you watched, like acting or set design or the costumes or the lighting, and decide like what was good about it, maybe what wasn't, what did you enjoy, right? Then you write a reflection where you basically focus on, what the critique highlighted. Why did you choose it? What did you think about when you watched it? Well, Carla, this playlist has quite a few options for you. So you have, there's Newsies in here. There is In the Heights, which is very good. Les Mis is in here. Hadestown is in here. If you are a lover of musical theater, I would highly suggest, if you have not watched Hadestown, you watch Hadestown. School of Rock is in here. Beetlejuice, the musical. There is Hamilton, which is under Some Founding Fathers Chillin'. The Waitress, Bring It On. Nebraska, How to Be a Lawyer, Legally Blonde. Falsettos, Rent, Sweeney Todd, if you like, which is very good if you like horror movies. Sweeney Todd is sort of a dark one. Little Shop, Carrie the Musical, Kinky Boots, Chicago, more Chicago, Bonnie and Clyde, Frozen the Musical is in here, The Great Comet of 1812, Phantom of the Opera. So Urinetown is in here. So there's lots of options, okay? Tried to find something that had sort of something for everybody. Jekyll and Hyde, which is another one. So like I said, not all of them are appropriate, but Matilda is in here. The Amelie musical, Sister Act. So you've got lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of options. The SpongeBob musical is in here. Spring Awakening, another one if you are a big musical fan and you've never watched it. Okay, so you will pick a musical. You will watch the musical. You must watch the entire musical. Somebody asked that yesterday, okay? So as you can tell, most of these musicals are around 2 hours, okay? So you will watch the musical, then you will write a critique, a 3-paragraph critique, okay? Your paper must be 600 to 850 words, and you must use and cite one source. Questions?
I have a question.
Yes, Victor, I have an answer, hopefully.
When it said cited sources, when it means like cite one source, what would the source be? Like a website, or would it be like the video?
It would be a website, so probably something supplemental. You could, for instance, a lot of these are from Broadway, so you could use Broadway.com to perhaps get the cast list, would be good. Or if you also, let me show you. So if you go on Broadway.com and let's say you wrote about Hadestown, you can get some information about the play here, right? The cast and creative team is listed here. So if you wanted to talk about the costumes, you could quote, the costume designer was Michael Crass, right? Yes, it is a summative grade. This is your last summative grade for the semester. So this would be a good place to start. You could also, look up information. You could look up a review of the play, perhaps, right? Let me make sure that nobody's locked. Oh, Hannah's waiting to get in. So you could look up, Broadway Hadestown review. Okay, so here's one from New York Times. And so maybe we're going to quote this and say, that they are, that what they've changed about the myth is in here, right? Now I want to show you guys, because a lot of you, when you're citing a source, are just copy pasting the link here and like calling it a day, right? Which is not how you cite something, okay? So if you do not already know of this website, easybib.com is going to be your best friend for essentially the rest of your academic life. I used it for my dissertation, straight up. You can go to this, create citations. And it asks you what kind of source you're using. We're using a website, right? So then you copy paste the URL into here. And it brings up the result. It's like, okay, yeah, that's the website I was looking at. I'm going to click Cite. It gives you all of the information about when it was published. Today is the day that I accessed it, right? You hit Continue. And then it's going to ask you to fill in anything that's missing, right? We've got the author, we've got the website, we've got when it was published. We hit Complete. We have to watch a cute thingy dob about Microsoft. What is the Power Rangers? There was music. You couldn't hear it, but there was. Okay, so then we wait. Click on elements in the ad to engage with it. When there is enough, click I'm done. I'm done. All right. So we click complete, complete citation, and there it is. And it shows you can copy that and put it into your citation, right? But there's how it's properly done. Jesse Green, quote, review, yada, 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 italics, the New York Times, 18 of April, 2019, website, the end. Okay? Does that help you guys with citing a source? Or did we already know about this? Because I'm not seeing you using it. Yes? Okay, good. All right. So that's going to be the paper. Finish your projects today, submit them by midnight, and then it's time for us to move on to the paper, okay? So once you are done with the project, I just want you to take a look at that list of videos in YouTube. Not right now, but maybe tomorrow, okay? And just maybe pick a couple that you think sound interesting. All right, let's get everybody into the Nearpod. We're missing about 10 people. So please go ahead and join the Nearpod. And we're going to talk today about German theater. Now, I see that a few people did the exit ticket early. What is the purpose of an exit ticket? Why is it called an exit ticket, perhaps?
The exit ticket is to do it at the end of class so that we
Okay,
can
thank
leave
you.
and
Yes. Yes. Okay. So a lot of people get things wrong in the exit ticket. Thank you, to do it at the end of class, the ending of class, because they have not heard the lecture, right? If you haven't heard the lecture, then like you can't know the answers that are like in the exit ticket, right? Okay. So just keep that in mind. Okay. All right. Good work.
Oh, sure.
All right, so we're going to talk today about German theater. And there's still a lot of people missing from the Nearpod. If you cannot get the Nearpod to work, open up the, oh wait, you can probably see my Nearpod right now, right? So if you can't get the Nearpod to work, you can watch my stream, but I would like you to, because then there's like the slides that I want you to interact with. So I'm going to stop my share for now, and I'll restart it if we have to. All right, so German theater gets a bad rap, and it also doesn't get discussed very often in theater history classes. In fact, I will let you know that in my introductory to theater history class in college, we didn't really talk about Germany that much. And so I'll explain why that is here in a minute. We do not have any journals anymore, so ignore that. I made this before. Here's the Nearpod link again before we got rid of those. Okay, so we're going to talk about Germany and why theater in Germany started so late. We're going to talk about a movement called Sturm und Drang, which translates to storm and stress. We will look at and I should get that. I need to get that up. A play called The Robbers. You're going to read about the play, and we'll talk about why was it so scandalous at the time. And then at the very end, I'm going to introduce you to the beginning of Romanticism. And so it starts in Germany, but Romanticism is going to become very, very important to the theater of, well, basically everywhere. Once it spreads out of Germany, sort of everybody catches on to Romanticism and it becomes very, very popular. All right, so we start in early Germany. Okay, let's see. Luis, can you read the first two things here for us, in 1640 and before unification, please?
In 1640, Germany was made up of 300 separate provinces. This is partially why we don't get theater in Germany until much later than other countries. Before unification, those who could afford it would import theatrical performances from France and or Italy.
Okay, perfect. So that's a big reason, right? Germany wasn't really Germany until 1640. Before that, it was just a bunch of these, these provinces that sort of hung out together, right? So there wasn't a German theater it didn't exist, right? So before this period, if you wanted to watch theater, if you had the money and you wanted to watch theater, you just paid French or Italian actors or basically whole companies to come over and perform for you. Because at this time, most of the people who were super rich also, like, in addition to speaking German, they also knew French or Italian. Okay. Yeah, we'll talk about that next, Mildred. Actually, why don't you read the other two for us? Can you? English plays. Yeah.
English plays were very popular. However, English clowns entertained the common people at fairs.
Fairs.
German plays. German's first playwright was also the first
Dramaturg.
dramaturg, or a person who consults theaters on doing a play and or editing new works for new playwrights.
Yes. Okay, good. So British theater on the whole was not very popular in Germany. But what was popular were English clowns. Now, these were not clowns like we think of today, like the clown from It, Bozo the Clown. Okay. They were more like, I don't know if you remember us talking about this before, but a clown was a name for a comedic actor. And so they were sort of like small groups of comedic actors who would go from place to place in Germany and entertain the common people. Okay. So have you ever been to a fair and watched one of the shows that they have there? Yeah, a lot of Emma's nodding her head. Have you ever been to a Renaissance fair? No?
It was only once,
Okay.
and it was hosted by a library.
Okay. Well, in Michigan, there's a very large Renaissance fair that runs, or I don't think it's running this year, but for like 6 weeks, I want to say. And there are actually people today who they make their living going from fair to fair, like with this fair circuit. And they do these types of shows still to this day. In fact, one of the people that I graduated with, he is in a show that's comedy and sword fighting. So he and I got our degrees together, and then he actually went to and got certified in like sword fighting, because you have to have a certificate to teach that and to do that professionally. And that's what he does now. That's his job, is he does these like sword fighting shows. So they did that. Okay. Eventually, of course, they're going to start writing their own plays. But in addition to that, Germany is going to introduce a brand new person to the world of the theater called the dramaturg. The dramaturg still exists today. This is a job that you could have in the theater today, especially if you like research. Because a lot of times what they do is they either research a play that's been around for a long time, to document like how it's been done before and how it was done originally. or they research brand new playwrights who haven't really gotten like off the ground yet, and they help them sort of get their first few plays staged at a theater. So it's a pretty fun thing. It's kind of like being a research assistant for a theater. Hannah, if you go into today's folder in Schoology, I don't know if it'll work or not, but there should be like a link to a different Nearpod it's called student led or something. And if that one will work, we're on slide 6. So try that real quick. And if that doesn't work, I'll share my screen. Okay, no problem. Yeah, always check. I've been putting the notes up. I know I've been talking to a lot of other teachers about this, that they don't put their slides up until like right before class, but I've been trying to put them up the weekend before we have class. So that way, if you are going to be sick or you know you have a doctor's appointment or something, that you can just like go right in and go through them. Because basically I do it that way because that's how like I would like to have it if I were a student. So I just do it. I just do it that way. Okay, we're gonna move on. We're on slide 7. So here's this concept. You got it, Hannah? Did that work? If that doesn't work, come to me at lunch and I'll let you use my. Okay, cool. So slide 7. Early plays reflected this concept of sentimentalism, that people are mostly good, but get led astray by evil. However, that did not last very long in Germany. So we talked about humanism with Spanish, or I'm sorry, with Italian plays, right? Does anybody remember what humanism was? I'm going to put it in the chat too. So what was humanism? All right. Yes, that life is worth it even if you don't go to heaven. Okay, good. So now we have sentimentalism, that people are basically good, but evil tries to find a way to lead them astray and get them to do bad stuff. Okay. However, the Germans aren't going to be like super into that for a very long time. Okay, so slide 8, Sturm und Drang. So again, make sure that you write this down. It's called Sturm und Drang, but it really means storm and stress. So what does that sound like? If you had to guess.
I hear stern, like.
Okay, a dragon. I like that. Yeah. It sounds very tumultuous, right? Storm and stress.
Is this like, is it kind of like, it's kind of like comedic tragedies? Like it's like, it's very like depressing and tragic, but like there's something good that happens? Cause like,
Some of them, yes, and some of them, no. Overwhelming, that's a good way to put it, Victor. Yeah. It's going to be a lot about emotion, okay? Okay, so Sturm und Drang is a movement of theater that is not unified. What does that mean? If something isn't unified, what does that mean?
It means that it's not the same. It's like different.
It's different, it's separate, divided, not whole. Yes, good. Okay, so that means that we're going to have writers in this movement that are going to be interpreting it in different ways. They're not all going to approach it the same way. Okay, so you see this on slide 9. Things that they did agree on is that they were against modern life, specifically urban life. Okay. They thought that a lot of sort of the things that were being invented to make life easier were actually going to cause more problems than they were going to solve them. They were against rationalism. So what is rationalism? Go ahead and look it up. Okay, a belief or theory that opinions and actions should be based on reason and knowledge rather than on religious belief or emotional response. Yes, okay. So they were against that. They did not believe that you should use reason for your decision making, okay? They believed that emotion should really guide how you make decisions and how you proceed. Okay? Some were opposed to neoclassicism. So let's talk about that. What were our 3 big rules of neoclassicism? What were the 3 main rules of neoclassicism? This is in France. The 3 unities, what were they? Not reality, but I understand where you're coming from. No, not miracles. We're talking about neoclassicism in France. The 3 unities. French neoclassicism. Mia's got it. Time, place, and action. So what's the unity of time? One day, everything takes place in one day. What's the unity of place? One location, and then the unity of action. One primary plot. Okay, you can all thank Mia for that because she basically saved your butts. Okay. So some of them opposed using those and some of them used them anyway. And some of them used violence, murder, to make a point about humanity, to make a point about, the horrible things that human beings are capable of. Okay? So I want you to, I'm going to give you, oh, we're running short on time today. I'm going to give you a few minutes to read over this article. And I want you to answer for me on the next page. What made this play so radical? Okay. So take a look at that article and then answer in collaborate. Why do you think The Robbers was so scandalous at the time? So the article is in the chat and you have, I'm going to give you guys 7 minutes to look through that article and answer the question in the collaborate board.
I don't know if this is happening with anyone else, but the article you gave us says nothing found.
Oh. Well,
I'll press it again, but yeah, it still says nothing found. It says, sorry, no post matches your criteria. Perhaps searching will help.
oh, what? Oh, it's because there's a comma. It's because I don't know how to copy paste things. There you go. Try it now. Or just delete the comma off the end of what you posted into. I was like, did they literally between last night and today delete that off their blog?
That would have sucked.
Yeah, that would have been my luck, right? That's okay, Ahmed. So here's the link. So go ahead and skip through that real quick. And then go ahead and answer the question in the Nearpod. Why do you think they thought it was so scandalous? You can start reading at the plot. The plot and breaking the rules are probably the two most important things. Although the premiere is pretty cool. But yeah, you don't have to read the prelude.
I have a question.
Yes, Emma.
So, what does contemporary mean? Because like it says the role friends more with contemporary clothes.
Okay. So what they're talking about there is that of the time period.
Uh-huh.
Like, so basically like how you're wearing clothes that are from this time period. So for them, it was like the current time period they were in.
Yeah.
The Nearpod says not found. What do you mean the whole Nearpod, Tyler? Does that help? Let me look at the sentence that you're. Okay. Yes. It means that the way that they're using it there is that they're trying to tell you that the clothes and the witness are from the year 1782, which is when it was present. So like today, if I was like a contemporary colleague, I'd be like somebody from 2020, somebody alive today. That's fine, Tyler. I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't like messing up because it did yesterday and it held like 18 comments in the queue and then all of a sudden they all popped up. You got just a couple more minutes.
I have a quick question
Yes.
about the Germany. So you said Germany wasn't the theater wasn't there because it wasn't even there. Like Germany wasn't even found yet.
So yeah, it was basically, it wasn't a whole, it was made up of
Germany.
just a bunch of territories pretty much.
Uh-huh.
So there wasn't like one person or one theater or like one culture yet.
They weren't independent yet.
Yeah.
So when was it? When was Germany founded?
Germany was actually founded as a country in 1871. So it took a long time. In fact, that's part of the reason why I don't know if I've told you guys this before. My last name is Prussian, and Prussia is now part of Poland and part of Germany. But like my great grandparents or my great great grandparents actually fled the Prussian War and like came to the US. So it's like not really been that long. So yeah, it just wasn't unified. There just wasn't anything that brought it together. That's a
Wait,
good question though.
wait. What was 1990?
What?
Then what was founded in Germany in 1992?
What was founded in Germany in 1992? That's
Oh,
probably
1990.
that's probably when is that when Western and Eastern Germany came together? Is that what you're talking about?
I think it was 1990. Yeah, it was 1990. That's what it says.
Right, because you know Germany was two different countries. It was Eastern Germany and Western Germany. After so it doesn't become Germany again until 1990. So after World War II, Germany becomes two places, Eastern Germany and Western Germany. And then in 1990, the wall between the two Germanys gets torn down and it becomes one country again.
I'm not gonna lie, other than like mixing different parts of society, I still don't see why this play was controversial.
Oh, the robbers?
Yeah, like I know it changed theater rules, but I was thinking like it was gonna be like the messages in it were gonna be like messy. Like it's just like a classic tale of hey betrayal and
Well,
brothers
yeah.
being like, hey, I want my
So yeah, it is betrayal. It is also a big part of the idea of like how he chooses to give up his family's inheritance and instead like chooses to leave the upper class, right? And that was sort of like a big scandal during the time.
well, I thought it was gonna like there were women.
Oh no, no,
Because like everyone's like women bad in theater.
yeah, no, it was about. So yeah, so they're really just focused on the fact that he broke all the neoclassical rules because it takes place over like 2 years. And then in addition to that, um, he tries to like take his brother's part of the inheritance, and it also addresses like somebody who is from the upper class going to and choosing to be associated with lower class people. Okay, we got to move on because of time. So we're probably going to have to skip a couple of things. I do need to talk to you really quick about romanticism. Okay. So this leads to romanticism, which has we're on slide 13, Hannah, just so you know. The two like really important things about romanticism is that they believed that you should be guided by your emotions. So you should make your decisions from your heart. Oh, Hannah just rejoined. Oops. You should be guided by your heart and not your mind. And the second thing is that in addition to being against sort of modern developments, they said that human beings are at their best in nature. So getting out of the city, getting away from like the pressures of that, that should actually be how human beings are at their best.
Decisions out of their mothers.
I'm sorry?
Wait, repeat. Make decisions.
Yeah, they're saying that when you're trying to make a decision, it should be based off of how you feel and your emotional response instead of logic, right? So they really prefer sort of that heartfelt, whatever your heart tells you to do, that's what you should do. I'm going to skip that one. So here's a pretty important thing that we're on slide 16. A lot of these plays in Romanticism were closet dramas, meaning that because the playwrights are like, well, these are supposed to be perfect, they're supposed to be ideal, they're saying it's impossible to stage perfection. So they're writing them for the audience to read and imagine sort of what it would look and sound like. So a lot of these were never like performed on stage. But this is one of the first times that we have this being done intentionally, okay? So plays that are written to be read alone and not staged are called closet dramas.
Man, I really did think.
What?
Oh, I did not realize my mic was on.
All right. Okay, so this video, I'm actually going to assign you guys as homework, okay? So it should be in the slide for today. It's a 12-minute video. So you will watch that and we will talk about it when we are all back together on Thursday. So it says homework link for 11/9. It's just a 12-minute video. It's not that long. It's a crash course theater. So that's it. It is exit ticket time. You have 6 minutes to do your exit ticket. Okay. So I want to make sure that I give you some time to actually do that. And I know that it's open. So make sure to do your exit ticket. Make sure to turn in your project tonight by midnight. If you have not already, if you have already turned in your project, please review the feedback that I gave you so that you can use that feedback to get an even better grade. But it is exit ticket time, so let's go ahead and go to Schoology and do the exit ticket. And once you finish the exit ticket, that is it for today. If you have any questions, just let me know.
Can I talk to you when everyone has left, if that is okay?
Yes. Thank you, Ahmed. Have a good day. Bye. You too. Bye-bye. Okay, guys, it is noon, so it is time to mosey on along so you can have 10 minutes before your next class.
I would like to talk and ask a question,
I know.
if that's okay. Right?
Yep, it sure
Sorry,
is.
that sounded really rude.
That's okay. You're okay.